Hello again and welcome to another edition of Suds and Country. Hi, I'm Herb Suds and welcome to the show, my friends. Today we're in Freehold, New Jersey at Metz Bicycle Shop. And next to me is Dave Metz, owner of the bicycle shop. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
Tell us about the bicycle shop and how you came interested in bicycles and mechanicals.
Well, I was born and raised on a farm in Cranberry, New Jersey, and I grew up on a farm. On a farm, if you had to work on machinery, if it broke down, you learned how to figure out what's wrong with it and fix it and repair it yourself. And later on in life, I got interested in early mechanical things, which includes antique bicycles is my main thing. I have a lot of early riding toys, kitchen gadgets, tools, a big collection of early mouse traps, and many other mechanical devices. Everything I collect is mechanical.
Well, we're inside the Metz Bicycle Museum here in Freehold, New Jersey. Dave, what's unusual about this bike? I think it's a visual, but tell us what's unusual about it.
Well, this section here is all clown or trick bikes. Many years ago, a woman from Atlantic City called me and said she has a bunch of clown or trick bikes that she would like to sell to help send her daughter to college, and she asked if I would be interested. So I told her I would take a ride down someday and take a look at them, and I hung up on her, and then I said, gee, by tomorrow they could be gone. So I called her right back, and I told her I'll be down in 2 hours. I rode down to Atlantic City, and she took me out to a barn that hadn't had a roof on it for maybe 30 years. And she had this bunch of clown bikes, and they were all rusty and in terrible condition. I asked her if I could take them out on the lawn to take a look at them, and I did, and we got together on a price, and I bought them. And this one here is one of my favorites. It's a shoe bike. I had to put all new shoes on it. The shoes were on it were all rotten. And it's one of my favorite pieces. It's a very entertaining type of a bicycle. All these clown bikes are. And
this actually can move with the shoes on.
Oh, yes, sure. If you'd like me to show you how it works, we can
spin
crank
it
it
just
up.
for a second. Look at that. Look at that. Unbelievable. Now if you get tired of riding, like you said, you can walk, too.
You can walk.
Yeah, you can walk with this. Man, that is something else.
It's a very nice piece. People find this
How
piece
old is
very...
this bike?
Oh, this goes back to maybe 1915 or so.
Wow. This was in Ringling Brothers and all?
Well,
you don't know where it came from?
No, it was probably used by a clown in parades and things like that, shows.
That's pretty cool. Very good. All right. Well, Dave, we're walking through the museum here, and we're in the unusual bike section again. What's so unusual about the bucking Bronco bicycle?
Well, this is another clown bike. It's got a horse's head, and you'll notice the rear wheel, the axle of the rear wheel is way off center. And when you ride this bike, it's like riding a bucking Bronco. You bounce up and down as you ride. It's a very interesting piece, and people have a lot of fun watching it in the parade. And
how many are left in this country? Are they still manufacturing this for circuses?
No, this was made about 1915.
Okay.
And I understand it was they had a bunch of bikes like these and tricycles and everything at an amusement park in Philadelphia in the 1915 period.
Okay. Pretty interesting. Bucking Bronco bike. Never heard of one, but you see it here in Metz Bicycle Museum in Freehold. Well, Dave, we're talking about unusual bikes. This is unusual. Tell us about it.
Well, this is another unusual golf bag unicycle. It's made out of an old golf bag. It was used in Atlantic City on the boardwalk and on the steel pier by the owner that had it made. He was a judge in Atlantic City, and he used to ride this for amusement.
Was he a golfer?
No, he was a bicycle rider.
I don't know where he came up with the idea for the golf bag idea.
I don't know. Everybody had different ideas in the early days, and in clown bikes and regular bikes and all kinds of mechanisms.
Take your hands off and show them the seat. These are the seat, my friends. This is a seat.
2 wooden golf clubs sticking up here. It's not too comfortable a seat, but it's an interesting piece.
Okay, that is definitely different. Okay, well, we're in the unusual bike section of the Museum here. You saw unusual bikes. Now we're doing unusual drives, the way the bicycle is actually driven. Dave, tell us about this unusual drive mechanism.
Well, this happens to be a very unusual bike. I saw this at a museum in South Dakota, and I spoke to the owner and asked him if he'd be willing to sell it. He said he wouldn't sell it, but after talking to him for a while, I convinced him to maybe we could work out a trade. And he was interested in that. And it took me 3 years to work out a trade to get this bike.
Okay.
It has a very unusual drive. It has two big 16-inch sprockets, and each one operates on its own and drives the rear wheel. But what drives the sprocket are these hundreds of little teeth inside of the sprocket here, and the pedals work up and down. Can I show you how it works?
Go ahead, Dave.
It's a noisy bike, and the pedals work up and down, and it's a drive that, you know, it was not a favorable drive because it had too many moving parts, and it never really took off.
What's the clothesline for?
Well, the line, the rope is connected to the two pedals, and when you push down on one, it picks the other one up.
Okay.
And here's a foot brake here. You press down on the on this brake, and it rubbed on a tire and slowed you down. Now, when I got my first bicycle, when I was in the 5th grade, I worked all summer to earn $6 to be able to buy a bike.
Right.
And it didn't have any brakes, so I had to put my foot right on the tire to slow down or to stop, and I wore out my shoes and my socks. I was the only kid in the 5th grade that could put his socks on from either end.
One question. Do you know what year the inflatable tires came in?
The pneumatic tire came out in 1890 and 1891.
Okay.
And the 28 by 1.5 tire, the popular one, came out in about 1900.
Okay. Pretty interesting. All right, Dave, that's an interesting drive mechanism if I ever saw one.
It's different.
It's different. Well, Dave, we're wrapping up the show. Tell us what we're going to look at here with this bike.
Well, this is a very unusual drive bicycle. It's an 1897 Carroll chainless made in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it has a spur gear drive. It has 3 gears, and the gears are what drive the bicycle.
This is pretty quiet compared to the other ones.
It's a very unusual drive and an interesting piece.
You have to wear, you can get your pant cuffs caught in there, I'm sure.
You gotta have your pants
tucked in.
That's right.
Like you do.
You gotta be careful with it.
Now, how did the seats progress? Take a couple seconds. How did the seats progress over the years?
Well, it's a funny thing, but the old seats from the 1890s are coming back again now.
Get out,
They're
are
having
they?
the ventilation opening in the middle, and everything old is coming back again now,
Okay.
not only in bicycles and many other things, even in the rollerblades. The first rollerblades were patented in 1896, and today they claim it's a new invention.
Tell us about your website, where the people can get more pictures of this on the web and how they can get a hold of
Well,
you.
the website is www.com, MetzBicycleMuseum.com. Leave out the first .com.
There you go. And hours of operation?
We're open from 12:30 to 4:30 every Wednesday and Saturday afternoon, or by appointment for organizations, groups, or individuals by appointment.
How many bicycles do you think, how many bicycles do you have in this museum that at last count?
I have about close to 150 bicycles, riding toys, kitchen gadgets, tools, early mouse traps.
And what's the newest item you have in here? The newest?
I have no new items.
No. Okay, that'll do it. And we go back to 1850, the oldest items? Some of the oldest items?
1851 is the oldest
There you
bicycle
go.
I have.
Dave, thank you very much for having us here in the bike museum. We appreciate your hospitality, believe me, because it's very unusual to be here.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it very much.
Okay.